are in some kind of strife, where do you go for help? Usually when we're ill, the first thought is a doctor. When we have a legal problem, first thought is look up a lawyer. You go to some fellow man or some organization and try and find help in time of need. We're looking at Psalm 121, verse 1 today, and here is what we see. I will look unto the hills, from whence cometh my help. My help cometh from the Lord. Now let's keep in mind that in the original Hebrew, there was no punctuation. So was it a statement or was it a question? Well, our tradition tells us that the hills are the churches or the places of the altar. The pastor is standing up above the people, and that's tradition. But look at the word hills. Plural, is it not? How many gods are there? We read in Deuteronomy 6, verse 4, Hear, O Israel, the Lord thy God is one Lord. There's one God. Paul points that out in Ephesians chapter 4, one Lord, one faith. But the hills is plural, which should clue us into, well, that may not be what we're thinking. I will look unto the hills, or is it will I look unto the hills? Now, what are the hills we're talking about? In the Old Testament, many times we have Israel sinning because they went to the high places. For example, Leviticus chapter 26 and verse 30. They had the law. It was told to worship the Lord thy God, him only will you serve. But here God says, I will destroy your high places, and cut down your images, and cast your carcasses upon the carcasses of your idols, and my soul shall abhor you. It's a warning, is it not? God says, don't do it. I am your God. I am your Lord. I'm the only one you're to serve. That's what the Ten Commandments says, the very first commandment. You'll serve only the one God. But they were building high places, and there they went to worship. The warning becomes a reality in 2 Chronicles chapter 11, verse 15. Jeroboam, the king of the northern 10 tribes, he, Jeroboam, ordained him priests for the high places, and for the devils, and for the calves which he had made. Well, the high places were not of God. They were demonic. Well, we turn now to 1 Kings, and here is a rather surprising thing. Solomon was the king of Israel. And to start, he was a good king until he yielded to the lust of the flesh and took unto himself wives and concubines. 300 wives, 700 concubines. They say he had 1,000 wives. Not exactly. He only had 300. But I'm reading 1 Kings chapter 3, and the result of his wives that he took up to himself from other countries, from pagan countries. He married pagan wives. He was unequally yoked with unbelievers. That should be a warning to our young people today. If you're a Christian, don't seek out a non-Christian for a wife. That's what Solomon did. Got him into all kinds of strife, as we read here. So I'm going to read 1 Kings chapter 3, verses 2 through 4. Only the people sacrificed in high places, because there was no house built unto the name of the Lord until those days. Solomon loved the Lord, in verse 3, and he walked in the statutes of David his father, Only, only. Now here is the contrast. He sacrificed and burnt incense in high places, and the king went to Gibeon to sacrifice there. For that was the great high place. 1,000 burnt offerings did Solomon offer upon that altar. And what happened to Solomon? He became worse and worse. A good king to start with, because he did not obey the statutes of the Lord under the law. Well, they made high places to worship, which God did not ordain, nor did he allow. To whom do you turn when you're in strife? Be honest now. Is the first thought you have to pray and ask the Lord for help? And perchance he will guide you to the proper lawyer or the proper doctor. To whom do you turn? The first thing we should do is pray. The Lord is in control. Well, let's look at Colossians. Here's what the Apostle Paul said about this. Colossians chapter 2 and verse 23. And here is what even Christians are doing. Here's a warning. Which things have indeed a show of wisdom, that's earthly wisdom, and will worship, that's what you think you should do. There's a way that seemeth right unto a man. The first place we turn is to fellow man. I need your help. Where is the Lord in all of this? You may worry about your finances, and you may try and find a way out physically. The Lord is able to do exceeding abundantly above all that we could ask or think. So let's go back to Colossians chapter 2 and verse 23. Which things have indeed a show of wisdom in will worship, not in any honor to the satisfying of the flesh, the lust of the flesh, the pride of life. We as Christians have this temptation to turn to the world for help. Yes, even to unbelievers for help. Is God happy with this? That we go to people who do not believe in God and ask them to give us assistance, just as the devil would like to have us do. For now he can get his proverbial foot in the door and cause us to wander away from the Lord. And I guess I'll have to ask the question again, to whom do you look for help? And if we're honest, we're going to have to admit we do look to the world because we're in this world and we're taught by the world, and we are told in the media and all over the place, yes, even pastors will succumb to this temptation to say, look to this doctor, he's a good one. Or look to this barrister, he's going to help you at this time. Look to the Lord. But man says, oh, I'll look unto the hills from whence cometh my help. Oh, what a miscarriage of justice. I will look to the Lord. What's that verse go on to say? From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord. Not the hills, the Lord. So next time you have a problem, even as a preventive maintenance in your life, look to the Lord and daily, always pray without ceasing. Give the Lord the only place in your life that he will certainly help you in time of need. Praise God, he is able, and you will be wise to trust his ability and be wise in the Lord.